Hey guys, this is Not Invoked 101. Welcome back, and today we're going to be taking a look at my first place locals Invoked Sacred Beast Eldlich deck. This is a deck that I played, I think about a month ago. It's been a minute since I played this. This is different than the last one I played. The extra deck's different, the strategy is different. This doesn't play Dragoon, so for those of you not wanting to play Dragoon, this doesn't have that in it. And I will be showing off a side deck for this as well. Before getting into it, I'm going to try and keep it brief. Down in the description, if you feel like supporting the channel, there's a few links down there that you can use to do just that, as well as join the Discord. So with that said, I'm going to set the extra deck off to the side. I do have a side deck for this that I'm going to show off, which I think I mentioned earlier, and we're going to jump right in. We're going to do this by engine this time. So the first stuff, and the reason I wanted to actually go back and play this deck is the Invoked engine. Invoked is a deck that I've wanted to play this format. I wanted to find a way to make it playable and make it good. So in doing that, I kind of went back to stuff that I had been using. I was playing Invoked Mech Knight and trying to refine that, but I think playing this was honestly just better overall, playing this version of the deck, which I of course used 3 Alistair. The other card that I used, the other monsters that I consider part of the Invoked engine in this deck, is the 3 Magician Souls and the 1 mana. Being that this sets you up for so many things with the Alistair, I always feel like this needs to be mentioned and included. Specifically mana as well, not the dark one because she's a light. So this gives you options for both Kaliga and for Mechaba. Moving into the spells for this engine, 3 Meltdown and 2 Invocation. These are all pretty self-explanatory as why we play them. This is a draw card, this is our engine, this is needed for that. These get you this, and these are needed off of him. So I didn't feel like two Invocations was too little. I feel like this is the perfect amount. There were actually times where I was siding out 1 copy of Alistair just during games there, because typically I only sided in about 6 cards, which you'll see why when we get to the side deck, because it's a very like, oh, these 2 hit this deck, this combination hits this deck, this combination hits that deck. So but yeah, that's it for the Invoke stuff. It's very compact. I think it's 3, 6, 7, 3, 6, 9. It's 12 cards. Moving into the Eldlich package, this time I'm only playing 2. I don't know if I played 2 in the last one that used Dragoon, but we are playing 2 Eldlich this time. Never sided him out. I always felt that 2 was perfect. This was a card that I feel currently is really cool. This outs Zeus if you have him in hand. So even if you happen to activate Cursed Eldland and they Zeus you, it goes to grave, and then you get to trigger that to send this to grave, and then you can just bring him back. You can put him in your hand and hold him and then activate him to send the Zeus, unless the Zeus doesn't have materials, in which case you can just beat over it with this. So that's really cool about him. Moving into his support, like I just mentioned, the 3 Eldlands. This card, from what I hear, is getting really expensive. I think my buddy told me this was like a $20 super, which is kind of ridiculous. This is an easy card, one of the best cards in the deck, especially with the other engine. Like, if you ask me what the weakest part of this deck is, I would say probably the Invoked part to a degree. But honestly, like this is what makes the deck cohesive. The Eldlich stuff. For our last spell, we only play the 1 Black Awakening. You could play white if you really want to. I actually sided this card out the most. Like anytime, I should mention my matchups. My matchups were Invoked Dogmatica, Prank Kid, and Zodiac. Zodiac Hand Trap. So if you were wondering what that, it was like Zodiac Hand Trap Kaiju. He was main decking the Kaijus and playing hand traps, and I 2-0'd all my opponents. So that was really cool. This easily that came out all the time. 3 Eldlich Scarlet. This was a card I always left in. This is one of the most important cards of the deck. I actually, there was a time I was playing this. I was playing the Eldlich package in something, and I was like, and I cited some of these out, and I was like, that's it's a big regret. So ever since then, I've never sided out the reds. 3 Hakiro and 3 Conquistador to round out our stuff. Conquistador, easily one of the best cards I played in the strategy. Same with Hakiro, even though Hakiro typically got sided out by 1 copy. So like typically from this engine, I would side out the Hakiro and the Eldlich, and then from this engine, I would side out potentially a Souls and a Alistair, which equals up 4. So yeah, depending on what the matchup was, and yeah, it was a very swift. It was a lot of very swift games, and these cards definitely came in clutch. There was a lot of times where I just summoned Hakiro just for a beater, which is very strange because this deck was able to simplify the game state in a way that I didn't think it would have normally been able to. But actually, I found it very impressive how the Eldlich stuff performed, and probably the second weakest thing, but actually one of the coolest parts of the deck, is the Sacred Beast stuff. So I'm playing 3 of Dark Beckoning Beast and the 1 Chaos Summoning Beast, which basically rounds it out. This guy gives you an extra normal summon for a 0/0 Fiend during the main phase, which is just something he does whenever he hits the board. And then I believe, right? Yeah, once per your turn during your main phase, you can normal. Yeah, so it's just a thing that happens when he hits the board. And then it says he can search a card that mentions Uriah, Haman, or Raviel in its text, or he can just straight up search them. Chaos Summoning Beast is kind of neat. He can tribute himself to summon them from your hand, or he can banish himself to add a Fallen Paradise from your deck to your hand, which is kind of neat and makes me feel like I should be using him differently, but there's nothing in the deck that works with the rest of that. And then 3, Opening of the Spirit Gates. This card, so if you open either this guy or this guy, it's potentially full combo with them, because this searches this searches both of these. Like, so he searches both of these and this searches both of these. So you only need one of this because you're gonna do some neat stuff with it just for link material, because it's a level 1, which is like the best level in the game now. Like, real talk, level 1 has easily become one of the strongest levels a card can be. Opening of the Spirit Gates is a really cool card. Like I mentioned, it searches on activation, but then it also has the effect to discard a card, which means you can ditch Eldlich from your hand to grab, to summon a 0/0 Fiend from your grave, which is part of the big combo that this deck does to get out Curious, to get your engine going, which is the main reason that we're playing this, is just to get the Eldlich stuff running. This is mostly a support engine. And then it also has the ability, if you control a level 10, which is Eldlich, you can get back Cursed Eldland, which you could have sent off of the Magician's Souls to get that draw. So like, it means no drawbacks, essentially. It's really cool in that sense. The last few cards, I'm just gonna show them here. 3 Ash, 3 Imperm. There was no point where I felt that I needed more hand traps. Everything else I played through, I either just sucked it up and set my control cards, or I had the outs through the side deck stuff. I did end up siding out an Ash at one point, which is kind of weird. I think I even sided out, I left the Imperms in constantly because this is a really nice card. There's actually a point, voice crack. There was actually a point where I set an Imperm in a column, and my opponent went to Imperm my Mechaba when I was playing against Prank Kids. Mechaba was negating something from grave, and he flipped Imperm in the same column as Mechaba, and I flipped my Imperm in response to it to negate his Imperm. So it was a really nice interaction. It was very cool because I targeted Meow Meow, and I was like, he had the monster on board. So that was the first time I'd ever Impermed an Imperm. So that was really cool. But that said, that's the main deck. That is the main. It is an even 40. It's the first time in a while I've played a flat 40, so that's cool. And then moving into the extra deck, I played 2 Mechaba. I felt that 2 Mechaba was perfect. There was no point where I needed another one. 1 Purg and 1 Algodes against Prank Kids. This was actually really cool. I had the field spell up, and then I summoned this, and I was able to banish their Battle Butler from grave, so that was cool. And then I was also able to pop a card because I had the field spell, and he tried to respond to it, and I was like, you can't. I have the field spell. It protects. You can't activate effects whenever my monster is fusion summoned. He gets it, and then whenever he summoned a Prank Kid, he normal summoned the Prank Kid, linked it away, and then he summoned Prank Kid Meow Meow, and then he summoned off of the Prank Kid that he linked away, and I used this to pop that, so he just was left with a Meow Meow, and it didn't, so yeah. Really cool card. For Xyz monsters, I of course played the 1 Rail Cannon, which I didn't put this in my Zoo Eldlich deck. I did play Zoo Eldlich for one tournament. I didn't put this in there, and I highly regretted it, so I am never not putting this in Eldlich again. This is a really cool card that if you can make it and you can game your opponent with it, it's so nice. Same thoughts with Sky Palace Gangradai. This is just another copy of that, but he's bigger. So if I need a beater, you can just... Or if they just have a monster that I can't swing over but it has like no protection, something like Rainbow Neos, this can out that as well. For links, Almirage and Secure Gardener, because of course you have to play them if you're playing Invoked, that's just how it works. And then this is what I've kind of, and then more Link ones, Link Kribo, Relinquished Anima, Link Cross, and Link Spider. This is for the Eldlich traps. This, I'm probably going to cut this. This doesn't really do anything for the deck. Relinquished Anima is to help go into Curious. Same with Link Kribo is also to go into Curious. Because like the only thing that Link Cross does is link away the Curious and let you bring back Link Kribo. So like it would go into Vert, but I don't play it. So maybe I'll play a different Link too. I play One Ningirsu. This card is also probably going to get cut for something else. I honestly just don't know. I was just trying to find something I could summon, and I was just going through my collection binder, looking at what I had, and this was one of the cards there. So this could honestly be a unicorn, really, or like a phoenix, or like a Nightmare Phoenix. I also play Curious because, like I mentioned, Curious is the card that gets your Eldlich engine starting. It can send Eldlich to the grave, as well as the Eldlich spells and traps. Sorry about that. So it can just get your stuff rolling, and because we're no longer playing the Red Eyes package, anything this thing mills is like there's no chance of ruining yourself by a bad mill. And then I'm also playing Crusadia Overmax. Crusadia Overmax is mainly made to be made off of like Curious and the Link Spider, just in case I leave like an Eldlich trap on board. So that's what he's here for. Which I actually did end up summoning this for the first time ever against someone, and yeah, it was. I don't remember exactly who, but yeah. So setting these all back into the extra deck, back into the place. That's it for the main and the extra. If you guys want to see the side, here it is. If you don't, thank you for watching. Sorry about that. I ended up dropping my side deck, so I'm just starting over. I played 2 Guardian of the Golden Land, which is a little bit weird, but the reason I picked it is for Dragoon. My friend who plays zombie, like pure zombie world, he spices in a copy of Eldlich along with a couple of the Golden Land traps, and he picked this one because of Dragoon, and he mentioned that to me, and I was like, oh yeah, because it doesn't target drop to 0, which means that this can summon itself and then 800 over the Dragoon. It's really cute in that sense, which is kind of funny. Or you can just summon it as a chump blocker at 25. So really nice tech choice, and I didn't run up against Dragoon, but it's still a neat card. And then to round out the third, I played a Harpy's Feather Duster, which I never ended up siding this in particularly, but I liked having it in the side deck just in case. Moving along, I sided in 3 Lancia. Against Invoked Dogmatica, I should have put this in, but I didn't, and I don't know why. It's just one of those things, like I just had a brain fart. Because I'll tell you what I did side in instead. I sided in 3-dimensional barrier, which did the trick. This still did the thing, and this actually, I top decked this against the Zoo player, which it felt so dirty. Because I drew my card and I was like, it's a Conquistador, ain't it? And then I looked at it, I was like, it's D barrier, and I flipped it on him in a standby phase, called Xyz, and he didn't have anything. He ended up passing. So yeah, so in that same vein against Zoo, earlier in the turn the turn before, I activated Book of Moon on his normal summon, and that shut it down as well. So it was just a bunch of stopping the opponent and whatnot. This was my 6 I sided in for Zoo. And then as far as the last card in my side deck, I played triple Cosmic. And so like I said earlier, this kind of plays in like you side in 6 in different combinations. So like Cosmic, I sided in Cosmic and D barrier for Invoked Dogmatica. I sided in Dimensional Barrier and Book of Moon for Zoo. I also sided in that same package for Prank Kid, and then, you know, if I was playing against something like Dinosaur, I probably would have sided in the artifacts and the cosmics and stuff like that. The only thing I think is the exception to that is whenever it comes down to putting in the Guardians, because I think you swap out the Huck Heroes for that matchup, simply because if something's playing Dragoon, typically they don't have a lot of graveyard effects, so I'd rather have the Guardians over the Huck Heroes, and I'd just side out 2 Huck, potentially all 3 Huck Heroes at that point, to put in the 2 Guardians and the Duster if they need it, but if not, then the 1 Huck Hero would be fine. But yeah, that's my side deck, and I had no regrets with this. I felt that this was a perfect call for what I saw, and I feel like it covers a lot of bases while also maximizing the amount of space that you want to use and minimizing the amount of cards you put in and take out and hurting the 3 separate engines. So yeah, I felt like this was in that thought process of like combos of 6 was perfect for this deck. And with that said, that is my Invoked Eldlich Sacred Beast deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I like this deck. I've had a blast playing this deck, and this is, depending on how Invoked Magistus goes, this might be the deck I stick with for a little bit longer. Also, if Eldlich or Invoke gets hit, I don't think either will, but you never know. With that all said, thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to drop down in the comments and tell me what I can do to improve this. Tell me what you liked about it. And with that all said, I will see you guys in the next video.
We'll be right back.